Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Sayyid FAROOQ HASAN is back with a new episode of Sky is the Limit. Today I have a very interesting personality with me. He is someone who connects deeply with the youth. This individual that I have here with me, I'm sitting at his place. He is the first Pakistani to graduate from world-renowned National Outdoor Leadership School in United States of America. He has also trained youth leaders in Australia, Malaysia, Turkey, USA, UK, Qatar, Sri Lanka, Tanzania, Saudi Arabia, and of course, Pakistan. He is a published author of a book, and he is also the founder and chief executive officer of Youth Impact, which is an award-winning not-for-profit institution, and it has trained more than 28,000 youth during the last 10 years in Pakistan. Abdul Khan is this celebrated individual. Let's talk to him. Assalamu alaikum, Samad.
Walaikum assalam.
So I met you at one of the events at NAST with all the youth, and you had a small tableau also, and you spoke about Youth Impact. And I was so impressed that at a time where youth is slightly disoriented, they don't have a certain sense of direction. I could see all the youngsters there, they were rallying around you and they were looking for direction towards you, and you had them, like going in a certain direction, a positive direction. So that was so heartening. So I thought, I must have a sitting with you and share your story with all my viewers.
Well, thank you very much for having me on this show. Definitely, it's an honor for me and for my whole team. And thanks for coming to our office. And yeah, I do remember that show where you came in and you were sitting on the front row. And actually, I was not leading them, I was following them, because these young people, these young boys and girls in Pakistan, they're just amazing. We just need to create opportunities for them. And this is what exactly we have done. So we have created a platform, given a space, trusted them, and we stepped back. And now, alhamdulillah, they are leading this front so amazingly that it keeps us excited, positive, happy, and young always.
Wow! And so, before I go to your childhood and where it all started, did anyone create that kind of a platform for you also when you were at that age?
Honestly, not in my immediate contact, but I do had some inspirations in my past life, in my childhood. You might be surprised that when I was in grade 7, I had memorized entire Bangedara. So Iqbal. So my biggest inspiration, even I couldn't understand his words, what he was saying, but I had memorized that
by heart.
By heart. So I think this is where it mainly started. And when I was in grade 10, I could start understanding the deep meanings behind his saying, his messages. So that is one personality who had a great impact on my own ideologies.
Allama Muhammad Iqbal.
Allama Muhammad Iqbal, rahmatullah. So that is one person I attribute to my own personal development. And then, of course, one more thing, being an introvert who didn't have a lot of friends, who used to spend a lot of time in solitude. So nature, outdoors, wilderness, that had been one another institution, I would say, that helped me become who I am today.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, so let's start your journey of life. Where were you born? How was your early childhood? How many siblings? Who had a bigger impact on your personality in your formative years?
Well, I would say I'm born in a small village in Dera Ghazi Khan. It's in Punjab. And my family, my parents, they were settled abroad in UAE. So my father was doing his business there. So immediately after my birth, we moved to Dubai. And my basic schooling was done there. And we are 5 siblings. My number is 4. And out of my whole family, I would say the biggest impact comes from my father. Of course, typically for a boy, he gets inspiration from his father. So my father was someone who he's passed away, may Allah bless him, an amazing person who never thought about himself. He always had been in a giving mode. So that is the philosophy I think I had inherited from him. And his prime business was transportation from Dubai to Saudi Arabia for Hajj and Umrah. And that was again, he was following his own passion. So this is where I inherited the second quality from him, that just follow your passion. And the third thing, which is about traveling, because he traveled a lot and we used to travel with him a lot. So traveling is another thing which I inherited from my father. So I would say he had been my basic role model at home, who helped me form
Any
my personality.
elder brother or any other siblings?
Yeah, I do have, like I said that I'm number 4, but generally being a mid-child, I think I had my own uniqueness in my own personality. So yes, we still live together and we have a lot of love bonds with the siblings. But I still think that most of the biggest impact was from my father.
From your father.
Yeah.
And which school did you go to?
This was a Pakistani school in Ajman.
Okay.
So I was studying there with Pakistani
So,
students.
right from childhood, you were not exposed to the typical Pakistani culture or what you would have gotten in Dera Ghazi Khan?
Yes, you can say that, because I was living in UAE,
Yeah.
studying in an international school, and a lot of friends, they were Indians, they were Arab, they were African, so they were speaking different languages. And you know, one interesting thing, when I came to Pakistan for my metric examination, so I was filling my form, and this form asked me about my father name, my religion, my caste. So beyond religion, I didn't know anything. So I said, I'm a Muslim, but then it was asking your caste and your sect, and I had no idea. So I went to my father and he said,
asked
okay,
him.
write this.
This was
So-
in matriculation.
Yeah, it was in metric. So I'm 15 years old and I have no idea about these identities.
Okay.
And at that time, I actually got confused that, you know, all these boys, they know about their identity and maybe I'm lost. But later I realized that that was divine plan, not to fix my personality into these boxes, so that I could do something beyond these identities.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so during school days, now that when I see your personality, I'm sure you must have been a very good debater and very good in extracurricular sports and all. How was that aspect of your personality during school?
Actually, you'd be surprised. I was studying in Government College Lahore during my college time. So in school times, I was just a mediocre student who never spoke in front of the teacher, who never participated, though he knew the answers, but he never had the courage.
Shy.
Yeah, very shy, introverted, closed kid. And you know, the first time I got this big shock when I was in college doing my undergrad. My teacher, English teacher, he gave me this book and he said that go and read this paragraph in front of the class. So the moment I started reading, within few seconds, my brain started fainting. I got clouds, my voice started trembling,
Okay.
and I started getting all the butterflies, and I thought that maybe I'm going to faint over here. And actually my teacher helped me sit on the chair.
Wow.
So that was kind of an embarrassing moment for my life, that, you know, I even can't read in front of the class because I was getting that pressure on me. So from there, actually, I started working on
That I need to
becoming-
change this.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, and what about sports? Were you like good in sports? Any games that you used to play? In
Again, not in the school,
Okay.
because during the break time, mostly I used to be that lonely kid who
Loner.
used to sit in the corner, just see all the kids playing, having his snacks, or maybe reading a book. So that's it. So entire school life was like that.
school? Okay.
Yeah, so you know, that's where in Government College Lahore, where I got my adventure. I got engaged in an adventure society, and then there was a geographical society.
Okay.
So these are like first ever societies or clubs where I started getting formal engagement in my academic life.
So what prompted you to join the Adventure Society when you said that during school you were very shy and you said that you're not that kind of an outdoor person?
Yeah.
Did someone nudge you that okay, some friend maybe that okay, let's do this and we will have fun and all?
Okay, there's a like interesting background.
Yeah.
I'm someone who never planned his life, and that's where a lot of audience who are listening, especially the young people, don't follow these footprints, because I didn't get any kind of guidance about what should I be doing and what is my strength. And going to Government College Lahore, the only reason was that Allama Muhammad Iqbal studied over there. So when I went there on the very first day of admission, I went to the clerk. I said that I want to study here. He said, what subjects? I had no idea.
Okay.
So I just want to get admission. So he picked my subject, which was geography, chemistry and zoology. And I had no idea what these subjects are.
The clerk, basically.
Yeah, the clerk, he decided that I'm going to study geography. And this is how I see divine plan. The moment I started studying geography, I realized that it talks about mountains, deserts, oceans, all these, the space. So
Nature.
maybe this is where I had been inspired from the beginning in my school life. So, and that was my reason to get involved into Adventure Society, because that was associated to Geographical Society. And we had a trip to Kagan with Geographical Society, and we got to experience all those mountains, the rivers, the nature, the cloud formation. And I think that's where my transformation started happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in our society, specifically in South Asia, it's very common. Right from childhood, like every kid is taught that, okay, you have to grow up and you have to become a doctor, or you have to grow up and become an engineer, or you have to grow up and become a pilot, for that matter. Did you have any, such kind of an exposure or a plans during your childhood that, okay, when I grow up, I need to do this in my life?
To be honest, at times this military, going into military was something which I had
joining
some
the forces.
inspiration.
Okay.
Yeah, and apart from that, I was absolutely confused. When I look back into my past, I had no future plans.
Okay.
So I had no future perspective that what I'm going to do with my future life.
So go with the flow.
Go with the flow was my formula, and actually I was lucky because it helped me a lot. And even the career I'm in right now, I had no idea about that this could be a career for someone in
for
their
a
life
person
as
who's so shy, who was shy till his matriculation, would go into a profession where he has to interact with millions of people every day, for that matter.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so you did your intermediate, and did you score well? Did you get good marks?
Not at all.
Not at all. Average.
Average student, yeah.
Okay, and then after that, what did you decide to do?
So when I studied geography during my undergrad, so geography became something very close to my heart.
Okay.
So I actually topped in the entire college.
Oh, wow.
But for rest of the subject, I barely passed.
Okay.
So then I went to my father that, I want to study geography. I want to do masters in geography. He said, what does that? Because he was a simple illiterate person. So he couldn't understand what's geography. I said that I'll be going in the mountains and I'll be doing research. So my father, he asked that, why don't you come and join me in my business in Dubai? So I went there, and then I thought that if business, then why shouldn't I study business like MBA? I went to some universities, got some advice, and someone said that, this is IT time. I'm talking about 1998. So this is the emerging knowledge, or technology is computers. So why don't you go and study computers? So when I look back into my past life, it was like a ping pong ball. So I'm not deciding about myself. So there are people who are deciding.
Divine intervention.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, later I realized that actually that was the part of the design. So I went into computer sciences. I came back to Pakistan. I got admission in a university in Lahore to do my master's in computer sciences. Though I have never touched computer ever in my life, and I'm going to do my master's
in computer science.
And very first semester I realized, no, it's a wrong choice.
This is not your...
I'm not a logic person. I'm not a computer or programming person. But since it was a private university, I had paid my huge fee, so I had to stick with that. So again, I say that my forced participation in that program and staying in that university for 2 years, that's where the divine plan was actually bringing me to do something greater.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you graduated from there? Like, did you complete your degree in computer sciences?
Exactly. I completed my degree. I'm master's in computer sciences.
Wow.
I have nothing to do with that.
Okay.
But during those 2 years, I got to initiate 2 societies. One was a mountaineering society, adventure society.
Within that college?
Within that university.
Yeah.
So I initiated that society. And then the other society was leadership society. So we call it Leaders Forum. So actually now when I connect the dots, these 2 societies formulate my career right now.
Okay.
So my outcome from that university was not that degree, but these 2 societies.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then, I was going through your profile. You're the first Pakistani to graduate from the world-renowned National Outdoor Leadership School also in USA.
Exactly.
When was that, and how did that come across?
Interestingly, when I graduated, I got a job offer from the same university to work in their training department. Again, not my plan. So I said yes to them and I went there. So this department was focusing on training of business leaders. So we used to go into different companies, different organizations, in the hotels. We used to do trainings on leadership, teamwork, management, time management, all these kind of basic skills. And that's where one fine morning, me and my boss, we were talking about our future expansion, and that's where this idea of leadership and adventure, combining them together, it popped up into our mind. So in 2003, we came up with this idea of leadership adventures, which means taking the business leaders into mountains and through adventure, training them on business.
The skills.
Exactly, the business skills like communication skills, how to resolve your conflicts, how to manage the teams, how to influence people, especially when going get is very tough. So how you stand up as a leader, as a strong leader. So this is what we started doing in 2003. So when I realized that being a software engineer who has no background of leadership, and I ended up working as a leadership trainer, so maybe I need to qualify myself. And this is where my message to young people, that always aim for excellence. So life could have its own plans,
yeah,
but how do you bring best out of that plan? This is up to you. So I started realizing that now I'm ending up in this leadership training thing. So how I can be the best in my own field. So I went on Google and found this institution called NOLS, National Outdoor Leadership School. Then I realized that NOLS is doing the same work for last 50 years in the world. So that became my inspiration. So 2-3 good years, I kept dreaming about going to NOLS. Again, someone who doesn't have enough money, enough savings to fly to US. So in 2006 is the time when I got enough saving to be able to fly to US. And that's where the major incident, the cancer, happened in my life.
Yeah, so I was about to come to that. First, I thought I'll cover all this.
Yes.
Okay, so basically you were going for that. But before we go to that, you also authored a book on Markhor, basically in the search of unseen, a fiction adventure novel, and on finding the purpose of life. Was that post your traumatic experience of suffering from this disease and recovering, or was it before that?
This book is actually a recent phenomenon. It just happened 2 years back, where we were trying to scale up our impact. So we were thinking about different strategies, that how we can reach out to millions of youth. So this book was an outcome of that thought process. So if you want, I can share about that book.
Okay, so I thought maybe this book was before that phenomenon. Now we come to that traumatic experience, life-changing experience of yours. Would you like to share that experience?
Of course, definitely. Initially, I was very shy. I never shared that personal experience with the people, but I met a guru in Australia, and he said that, Samad, this is your gift. And he said, Samad, this is your gift. Go and share with the world. So during that NOLS experience, it was exactly September 2006 when I got enrolled in my US program. I got my ticket, I got my visa, I got everything sorted. And the same week when I had my flight, I got diagnosed with cancer. It was Hodgkin's lymphoma. It started on the back of my neck.
Okay.
And the best thing was that it was in the initial stage and it didn't travel down.
So you didn't get any symptoms, or was it just a random check?
It was just a random check.
Okay.
Actually, I was sitting in my office and my boss came in, he stand behind me and he put his hand. He said, there's something on your neck.
What a lump or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So he recommended me to go to the oncologist, and we got the test, and we found that it's
positive.
Cancer, yeah. And then my doctor, he said, leave everything, get in your bed, and you will go through chemotherapy, you will go through radiotherapy. Those 6 to 8 months, honestly, they were the most painful experience of my life.
Excruciating pain, yeah.
You know, even right now when I'm talking about that, I feel that
goosebumps and
saliva in my mouth because of that chemo. It never left me. So, you know, when I was in the lowest moment of my life during that treatment, it was December 2006. I came back from chemo, I locked my door, I cried a lot at that night, and I thought that this is going to be the ending. And that's where, alhamdulillah, I got another purpose, another hope to live back. So I found this NOLS catalog next to my bed, and there was a picture of a person who is climbing up a snowy mountain. And I looked at that picture and I said to myself, hey, Samad, you need to do this thing. And I talked to my creator, oh Allah, give me enough time that, you know, I should be able to climb up this mountain. And literally, I ripped off that paper and put it on the wall in front of my
It was
bed.
like motivation to you.
Yeah, and day in, day out, I used to tell myself, Abdul Samad, you have to do this thing. And Alhamdulillah, 6 months later, actually it was March 2007, I got cleared from the cancer. My doctor said that it's gone. And
March 2007.
7.
So it's
Yeah.
almost a year's journey.
Almost a year, yeah. And June 2007, I was up in Rocky Mountains. So I got this Pakistani flag with me because that training was not just a training for me, it was a new life. And there I realized that for 35 days up in Rocky Mountains, carrying a 35-kilo backpack with all Americans, I was the only Pakistani. I was struggling not just physically, because I was just recently recovered from chemo and cancer. In terms of cultural shock, it was totally a different world for me. Emotionally, I was very weak, but that drive was so strong that this training is a new life. So I have to, prove myself that I'm back on the life. So Alhamdulillah, I completed that course, and the biggest discovery for me in that course was this new purpose of the life. Because I went to my doctor once, I asked him that, why cancer happened to me?
Yeah.
I do not smoke, I live a healthy outdoor life, so what is the reason behind me, behind this cancer? And he said that for Hodgkin's lymphoma, there's no medical reason, it can happen to anyone. But knowing you for last few months, I can see that you are chosen for something. I said, chosen? Cancer? He said, yeah, I can see that because it came to your life, it touched your life, it's going back and it will be gone, inshallah. Think yourself what you're going to do differently after that.
Because you're getting a new lease on life.
Exactly. So that was kind of a thought which kept in my mind all the time that, why it all happened. So when I reached at Knowles, I used to get a lot of reflection time because our day used to end at by 3 or 4. And then we are at the camp, sitting next to a lake, just reflecting on the life.
Very close to nature.
Exactly. And that's where I realized that Knowles works with young people. So why can't I do the same thing with the youth in Pakistan? So I came back from Knowles with this statement that life for youth. So this second life is for youth, and that's where the next
You're
journey
dedicating your new lease on life to youth.
started. Yes.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Great. And that's where you decided to found, to form this company or this institution, Youth Impact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the idea started from there, but it took almost 2-3 more years to came into a formation of an institution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So in those 2-3 years before this was founded, what were you like engaged in? Were you like taking out excursions, or were you training on a personal level? What were you doing?
So professionally, I was working as a trainer. So I used to do leadership training, and I used to work with different companies and take their executives into the mountains, oceans, deserts.
Outdoors.
So outdoor trainings for corporate leaders had been my profession. And that's where I talked to my boss, my partner, that, maybe my calling is towards youth. So maybe I need to switch from corporate towards youth. And that's where he had this important question that, okay, fine, Samad, this makes sense, because with your journey, it makes sense that you need to do something more meaningful. But where will you make your money? Because when you go to youth,
you have to
they
survive.
don't have money.
Yeah.
So that was a very good question at that time. But honestly, I was so much driven by that passion that I'm counting every single day of my life. So I can't just waste running after money or running after my material goals. And then I had this kind of faith developed because of this journey that maybe if I start walking, I might find some solution on the way. And this is what happened in the last 10 years. I've been witnessing every year that if you are driven by strong purpose and passion in your life, which is actually giving back and which is actually bigger than your own life, the whole universe, it paves way for you. It makes possible that you achieve your dreams.
They all work towards it.
Exactly.
Yeah? Absolutely. Okay. So how did Youth Impact come into being? Like,
Right.
what were the factors behind it? Who supported you? Who motivated you? Who inspired you?
Actually, it's not just a single person, like it's not my own initiative. There was a whole network of people, my associates, my partners in my corporate training firm. So my boss over there, he had been the biggest supporting person. He became the chairman of board of directors.
What's his name?
Naseem Zafar.
Naseem.
So being the chairman of board of directors, and then I went back to my own corporate clients because all those companies I've been training, and I told them
You had
that
formed relationships
yeah,
there.
so I said that I'm going to set up this non-profit. So they had been backing this whole initiative, and then these co-founders of Youth Impact, Hassan, Haris, Nisar, Hamza, and they were all doing their own things. It was divine plan that we started getting connected at some time, and they all started thinking on the same pattern that we need to give back and we need to do something for youth. So we got together in 2013 and we decided to establish a non-profit, and we named it Youth Impact. So this was like the journey from where it started.
And what was the purpose? What were the TORs, terms of reference, or like what would it encompass?
In my personal terms, I would say it was my reason to give back or to live a life where I can contribute back. But when we stated as a mission statement of Youth Impact, we stated, and it was in the beginning and still on the 12th anniversary, it is still part of our mission, which says that to develop purposeful, character-based young social leaders. So
Purposeful, character-based young social leaders.
So this is why Youth Impact exists.
And any youngster from anywhere in Pakistan or anywhere in the world can join in, sign in. He has to register himself. How does it work?
Yes, definitely. Because when we started, we ourselves had no idea, because there was no existing model in Pakistan, and we just started based on our passion, and we started reaching out to different universities and schools and colleges. And on the go, we realized that we designed some programs for street children, so those who can't pay anything, and someone supported. So the street children got trained by Youth Impact. And then recently, like, we did a program for juvenile offender. So 20 young boys who were in the juvenile jail.
Boston school or something. What do they call it? They have a special term for this, juvenile jail, right?
Yeah,
I think it's a
juvenile
Boston
centers or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
So they had committed some crime. So we worked with them. We brought them out, and we did the camp for them, and we trained them some skills. Now, alhamdulillah, most of them, alhamdulillah, some of them is tailor, or someone is driving a rickshaw.
Okay.
They're earning like something for their families. So from bottom to the top of society, like going from to the top business schools and universities, Youth Impact is open to every segment of young people.
Very good, very good. And basically, do you give them on-hand training? Like, are they are they registered in a course, like it's a 6-month or a 3-month course, and then rigorous training or something like that, or is it just a one-time excursion and like a 5-day, 4-day program? How does it work?
Actually, when you use this excursion, I smile over there, because a lot of people think that when we take them in outdoors, so maybe it's an excursion trip. It's much more than that, because it involves our blood and sweat, and it involves their emotional, physical, and spiritual connections re-established. So our programs vary in their structure. For example, this juvenile programs, it was almost 6-month program where we did a 4 days camp outdoors. Then after that camp, we did their psychotherapy. And then after psychotherapy, we connected them with some institution to give them some vocational skills. Once they did that, we ensured there is some microfinancing for them. So, it was
a step-by-step hand-holding.
Exactly.
Okay.
So making sure that, they started reasonable earning for themselves and for their own family. Similarly, our flagship program, which is Markhor, which is inspired by the national animal of Pakistan. So Markhor is again a fellowship program. So those who apply every year, we receive like 4,000 or 5,000 applications from university going students. So we just pick 100 best of the best of the best. They go through online training, and then they attend a 5 days camp in outdoors, where we challenge them physically, mentally, emotionally to rediscover their own purpose of life. And then they're supposed to go back to their own community, and they have to conduct Learning Kavil, which is another program by Youth Impact, where they have to train the government school kids. So they have to go to their own community and go down to the bottom of the pyramid, and those kids who can't afford these kind of camps. So our Markhor graduates, they train those government school kids. So this is the model of giving back to the society.
So you train them and they train. So it's like a successively ongoing model.
Exactly.
That's
so it's
awesome.
a whole cycle. So
Very nice.
we are inspiring Markhors, and they are like from the top institutions. and they go back to their own community and they inspire those underprivileged kids.
Wow. And how many students or how many youngsters have gone through this process?
Recently, by the end of 2023, we were just counting on the data. So, Alhamdulillah, it had been more than 28,000 youth who have gone through Youth Impact Different programs.
So you've touched 28,000 lives.
28,000 lives.
Wow. And obviously they have families associated with them. So it's basically 28,000 families that have been affected with your program in a positive way. Samad, we're going to take a short break, but once we come back, I want you to talk about your book that you've written, Markhor, in the Search of Unseens. It's a fiction adventure novel on finding the purpose of life. So that's one thing that every youngster wants to know.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sky's the Limit. This is Syed FAROOQ Hasan, and I am in conversation with Abdul Samad Khan. He is the founder and CEO of Youth Impact, a great inspiration for all the youngsters. He's been around internationally. He's trained so many youngsters all over the world, and now he's based in Pakistan and developing our future, the future of Pakistan, which is the youth of Pakistan. Samad, I'd like you to tell a bit to all our viewers about your book that you've written, Markhor.
Yes, definitely. I'm very proud of this book, and I just kept it over here. So this book says Markhor in the Search of Unseen. And the idea behind this book was about scaling up the impact. So during COVID, we were sitting in our homes, we were doing nothing, and we were thinking that we are unable to do the camps, but how we can pass on that message of optimism, message of purpose and character and those values and leadership to the young people. So that's where we started writing this fiction adventure novel. So the concept or the summary of this book, because I would like you to read yourself, there are 4 youngsters who come from Stanford University to do their research on this animal, Markhor.
Markhor, which is a national
animal. So they are environmentalists, so they come to Chitral to do their research. Now what happens, those 3 months in the mountains, they go through a lot of challenges, a lot of adventure, and for some reason they couldn't find this animal. But when on the last day they're about to fly back home, they all had that contentment on their faces because they'd find the Markhor within themselves. So that is the summary of this book, and this includes, we had strategically incorporated the soft image of Pakistan, so because it's not just written for Pakistani readers, it goes all over the world, so anyone who reads this novel, they get to know about the culture, the people, the values about Pakistan. Similarly, we have addressed some myths, some beliefs about our religion, our culture, why a Pakistani girl wears hijab, so why they have this kind of lifestyle. So we have tried to address and why the issues like blasphemy in our society or all over the world. So we have tried to address those issues in the form of this story writing, and at the same time it is a self-help book for a young person who reads this book and can start thinking about their own purpose and meaning in their own life.
It's fiction?
Yeah, it's fiction.
It's fiction.
It's fiction, but the characters in this book, they're all real humans in the world of Youth Impact.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I am definitely going to give it a read.
Yeah.
Samad, the event that I attended, one thing I really noticed and I was very impressed was that the main crux of the learnings, the teachings that were being provided was peace, harmony, unity, faith and discipline. Like all the pillars, what Qaid-e-Azam, preached us, and what our society is based on which we take pride on, those were being, etched on the youngsters, and they were feeling so proud. And regardless of caste, creed, all the youngsters, I could see the smile on their faces, that energy, that positive ray of hope. Now that's a very difficult task. Youngsters are full of energy, and to channelize that energy into positive medium is, everyone wants to do it. The government wants to do it. Everyone wants to do it. How were you successful in changing these 28,000 plus lives?
First of all, honestly, I'm surprised that you got to notice that optimism and positivity on the faces of those youngsters. And definitely it's all over. Wherever you go, you meet a youth impactor, you will find the similar kind of passion, similar kind of sense of purpose, and this vision to give back to the society. I say, or I would say, wilderness has a lot to do with this kind of experience, because when we take these young boys and girls into outdoors, the first thing which we do, we take away their cell phones. So they are digitally disconnected,
Okay.
and which gives them a chance to reconnect with their own self, reconnect with the environment, reconnect with the people, and reconnect with their own creator. Because that 24/7 Wi-Fi is definitely an opportunity, but at the same time, that holds our vision to find our own purpose in our own life. And that's where the nature does that magic. So we take them into outdoors, and again, these outdoor camps are very well crafted and designed, because the group formation is based on diversity factors. As you said, that we make sure that people from all provinces, there are participants from all socio-economic classes, there are participants who speak different languages, who represent different religions. So this is part of our design. Wow. So we bring them together, and they come with their own stereotypes that they had been taught in the society. And when they experience those amazing humans, that if I'm Punjabi and then there's the Pakhtun, and we are interacting, and they're both are amazing people, they're helping each other, their stereotypes go away. They start realizing that all these religions, their ethnicities, their caste, they're just identities. And it's not about right and wrong, it's not about judging someone. So this is how, being part of this design, they experience it themselves, and then they take these values back to their homes, their families, their class fellows. And alhamdulillah, now we are seeing that this impact is going across the community. As you said, that these peace building, the values of appreciating diversity and differences, this is where we are seeing that if one girl, she participates in youth impact camp, her next sister comes in, the third sister comes in, cousins family come in, and the whole family comes in. And again, one thing which we make sure that it happens in all our regions. I personally visit their homes, especially okay, to the core team members. So I meet their family members, I establish those family bonds and connections, so that they should know that their boys and girls are going to our camps and who we are, and we also know that what kind of impact these kids have created in their own families.
So it's like a family environment.
Family environment, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was my next question. So how is the gender balance in this youth that you intake for these kind of trainings? Do you have international participation also, or are these all local youngsters like from Pakistan only?
When we started in 2013, the very first camp, we had 77 participants. Out of them, I remember there were 13 girls only. And those girls who were coming with our own reference. Because in our socio-cultural environment, it's a bit difficult for a girl going out on a camp where there are strangers. So, alhamdulillah, this 10 years of journey was to build that trust and credibility, where the families and the people in general could trust this whole system of youth impact, and they could send their girls. Now, last 3-4 years, we have to actually stop on 50%. So now the participation from both genders is 50-50 in most of our camps. We also started doing all girls camps as well. So there are camps for girls by the girls. So our female teams of trainers, they conduct these camps, and just girls can participate in those camps. So that is about that gender factor. And about global participation, 2017 is the year when we started opening up youth impact for global audience. So in last few years, we had received participants and speakers as well from Australia, from Finland, from Malaysia, from Turkey, from Sri Lanka. So now gradually we are trying to build up that image of Pakistan through these kind of exchange activities and participation in our camps, where they can go back to their own countries and they become ambassadors of youth impact.
So basically they are foreigners, or they are Pakistani settled in these countries?
Both. So we actually, we flew in people from Australia, from Turkey, from Finland to participate at Markhor.
Wow, and you know, this is a great way to promote tourism also, for that matter. You know, Pakistan has abundant resources, I believe, especially our northern areas and all, untapped, extreme beauty, and most of the people don't know about it.
And very peaceful as well. Yeah, because sometimes we get some negative image, but when these people come and experience themselves, they realize that it is such a peaceful country and the people are so much loving. So definitely.
Wow. You've been a regular speaker at TED also, you know, which is a forum for basically motivational speakers and all that. You are a trainer yourself. You've been around the world. You've had training sessions in Australia, Malaysia, Turkey, USA, UK, Qatar, Sri Lanka, Tanzania, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan. What is something unique which our youngsters have and which you didn't find elsewhere? And what is something which you can import from there and bring to our youngsters here?
Interesting question. I would say the thirst and desire to learn and do something in their life, this is what we have got unique in our youth. Because especially when you compare with the developed world, this is where lack of opportunities is actually an opportunity for our youngsters. And that had been the driving force for a lot of Pakistani when you see them going abroad and they create wonders. So I believe this element of not having those opportunities, yet having a strong desire to learn and to do something, this is unique about Pakistani youth. And when I compare the youth around the world and what are those values that our youth need to learn, I would say the same thing which I have just talked a little while ago is about respect and admiration for diversity. Because when you travel on the streets of New York or Sydney or even Dubai, you see so many colors, so many languages, and they are just living
diverse cultures
because they are living in peace and harmony, supporting each other, focusing on the common grounds. And this is where I believe that our youth needs a lot of exposure like that to understand that, you know, we have got some beautiful culture and values that we can teach them. At the same time, we can learn from them how to live in harmony with a diverse culture.
So one question I forgot to ask, Samad, that you know, you mentioned traveling, 7-day camping, 10 days, going up north, people coming in from international destinations. Now this must involve a lot of money and funds also. You know, it's not easy nowadays to just pick up your bag and go without any money in your pocket, you know, like it costs and it's expensive. And how do you manage that? You've been around so many countries and all. You must be a very rich man, I must say.
Of course, this is what a lot of people think. And Alhamdulillah, I'm very rich at heart, and Alhamdulillah, I can't be much grateful for what I had received in my life. But in terms of material gains, that might not have been my priority for the last 10 years. And first thing, let me share about my personal secret about how I got to travel across this world. I traveled across 5 different continents, and I've done work in these continents with youth. So I've trained them, and I've been staying at some of the best resorts. I had climbed the highest peak in Africa, Kilimanjaro, and I had been camping next to Great Barrier Reef in Australia. I've been camping on Langkawi Islands. All these places had been part of my bucket list. And the most interesting part is that I got to travel these places free of cost.
You have to teach me the secret.
Without spending a single penny, I got to travel all these places. And that's where the formula which I realized and learned in this whole journey is about your intention and your approach towards life. When you start thinking that how I can contribute, how I can give back, and giving is not just money. Even your smile is a charity. You can contribute with your skills, you can contribute with your knowledge. So whatever I got in 10 years of my corporate leadership training, I started passing it on to the young people. And that's where I believe that divine systems get into action, and I started getting these opportunities. So one fine morning, I just received an email from someone that, hey, we are taking this group of Australian young boys and girls to Kilimanjaro. We want to hire you as a leadership trainer for them. Are you willing to join us? So not just they are paying for my ticket to climb Kilimanjaro, but they are compensating my time as well. So this is, alhamdulillah, what I had been experiencing the last 10 years. When you come to the expenses or cost of youth impact camps, you're absolutely right. If you ask me, one biggest challenge youth impact or myself as part of youth impact had faced in the last 10 years had been this finances. Because I'm someone who's passion driven, profession and mission came in later, but the biggest challenge was to create a financial model for this whole system. So as I said that I went to my corporate partners, those companies I've been training in the corporate sector. Those corporate partners, they sponsor through their CSR initiatives. We had been engaged with Higher Education Commission for 2-3 good years. So we trained the entire staff of HEC. That contributed to our financial sustainability. We had been doing some projects with the government. We had been doing some projects with some non-profit institutions. We also charge certain fee from those who can, from the top slab who can pay their cost. We do some activities for corporate clients. So combining all these models, this is how we contribute towards the sustainability. It's not easy job, but alhamdulillah, we are through our 4th year, so it's going on.
So I think one thing I picked up from Samad was that if in life you are engaged in a profession or you do something which is your passion or which you are fond of, you never have to spend any money. It's like enjoying what you're doing and getting paid for it. Right?
Find a greater purpose in whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And then the universe will just
conspire to make it happen.
Exactly.
So, Samad, what are your future plans? Where do you want to take this youth impact? What do you see? What's the future? And what do you want to do in your life?
Again, so many things, because I call myself as a passionate dreamer. So when 10 years finished, we were talking within the circles of youth impact, what's next? So now one thing is we are looking for next 10 years, which is about a very ambitious plan to train and develop 1.2 million young social leaders in Pakistan.
1.2 million young social leaders in Pakistan. Wow.
So transforming this society by character building and leadership development of 1.2 million youth. So this is where we are seeing our next 2030 goal, inshallah. The next, another goal for me is Youth Impact Global. So we have already started working on that. So taking our camps, like our brand Markhor, to Middle East, in Qatar, in Saudi Arabia, in Turkey, in Malaysia. So this is where we have already started working on that. And the third thing to me is to institutionalize. In last 10 years, most of the time I was on the driving seat. So I believe this is the time where we pass it on.
Pass on the baton.
To the next generation, and where the youth themselves, they think, they plan, they strategize, and they take the lead, so that this becomes an institution instead of just becoming one-man show. So this is another personal challenge for me for next 10 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we have paucity of time. I would love to have this, continue with this conversation. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Any specific message that you'd like to give to the youth of Pakistan? And this is coming from a person who has struggled in life, who has made it big on his own, and who is doing so much for the youth. What would you like to say?
I reflect on my own journey. From there, I derive this thing, which I've already said, but I want to summarize it, especially for young people, that just shift your mind from taking towards giving. Because you can say that I'm just 18 years or 19 years, I still don't have a lot of knowledge, a lot of money, a lot of skills. But as I said, that even your smile is charity. If you just take a rock on the path, you're contributing towards the society. So if you help someone cross that road, you're contributing towards that society.
If you're cleaning your street, that is...
Exactly. I mean, these small acts of kindness where you start contributing towards your society, giving back. Because the moment you start giving, actually you start receiving. Because then you become the partner of the biggest giver of universe, Allah Almighty. Because then He holds your hands and He makes sure that His whole system works for you. So my single advice that helped me for whole of my life, which I advise to every young person on my camp, that think how I can contribute back to the society, to the people around me, to my parents, to my siblings, to my neighbors. So this is where, with this shift of mindset from taking towards giving, I think we can create a better society. Inshallah.
Awesome, awesome, Samad. Thank you so very much, Abdul Samad Khan. It was a pleasure meeting you and sharing your thoughts with my viewers. You know, it's amazing. I wish you all the best and continue doing this great job that you're doing.
Thank you so much for coming.
With this, we come to the end of this episode of Skies.